Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Midwest Chicana. Thank you so much for being here. We're doing things a little bit different today. Going to go a little bit more structured so that way I can kind of do the intros a little bit more smoother and better for our guests. And we have some phenomenal guests today, so I definitely want to give them the great intro they deserve. So first and foremost, I'm Deanna Munoz, and I am the host of Midwest Chicana podcast, also the CEO of Latino Arts Foundation, and the Midwest Chicana brand. So first, I would love to call out and absolutely give some grace and prayers to. We've had a hard couple days, our community, and I want to give love to our Morales family in Kansas City. Sending you all our love and prayers. We are all with you, and TJ Morales is always with us, and I just wanted to ensure that we said his name on here and just said how much we love your family. And then I also want to give just praise that the Coronado family is going through some things with COVID, and I just want to say all our prayers are with you, and so glad that Chico Coronado is home and doing so much better. So got to give love to our community here in Kansas City, our Latino community in Kansas City, our Chicano community in Kansas City, because without us, we needed to be there to support them always. And so definitely want to say their names on here and just give them all the love and support always. With that, Porterhouse KC, giving a shout out to them. We are going to be having a Hispanic Heritage Month event with many Latino community leaders in Kansas City. They're all going to be on Porterhouse KC, 6 o'clock tomorrow, Wednesday. And come check them out on Porterhouse KC live on Facebook. So going to be a great conversation. And then last but not least, the Latino Arts Festival is going to be ending tomorrow. So we are going to be doing our last broadcast at 7 o'clock. DJ Munch is going to be spinning the tunes with us. And then we're going to have a great artist, David Gomez from Kansas City, playing some of his amazing music in front of Cafe Corazon. And then we are going to say our goodbyes. So myself and Edgar Palacios, the chair of Latino Arts Foundation, will be with us. And then we are also going to be saying our goodbyes with the many people that helped us with this festival, and the task force and the educators and the artists and cooks and entrepreneurs and everybody that was available to be on the podcast, which we have an amazing group of people with us tonight. So with that, continue watching. We have a couple more broadcasts this evening, and then, like I said, tomorrow will be our last day. And we just love that you continue to support the Latino Arts Festival in Kansas City. And without further ado, I'm going to be introducing you to two amazing people that I had the opportunity to meet last year. And they actually are from Oklahoma, and they came in town in Kansas City to be at the actual Latino Arts Festival in Kansas City, Kansas. They made their way up there to come and see what we were doing, come and meet me, come and talk to me in person, and really get to know us. And ever since then, I've been following their amazing podcast called Cafe and Chisme, and their names are Albert Rios and Jay Wright. I'm going to bring them back on. I'm going to try this. Hi.
Hey, what's up? Hi.
Hi, how are you both?
So good. Like, this is so amazing. Like, your intro, your like everything is just like so fire. Like, we've tried using this platform. It's so basic for us. Like, we're like, all right, we're going live. But like there's like a whole setup, music, and like, wow.
It's so
I'm speechless.
beautiful. Yeah, I know. I'm so nervous. Like I look up to you so much, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is so awesome.
And it's so funny because I look up to you both. Like I
Oh,
listen to your podcast on Spotify, and I'm following you all, and I follow you on Instagram, and I love your authenticity. You make me feel like I can be myself,
oh,
and that brings that out. And I just love that. And I just love having that group of people. Like we're not living by each other. We didn't grow up together, but it's just, you find this community of people that are just doing phenomenal things, and you just want to connect. And I just cannot wait for Kansas City to get to know you even better. And hopefully they'll start following you and listening to your podcast and all the amazing things you do on there. But yes,
thank you.
never think that my intro is anything but put together grassroots stuff. Canva is my friend.
We discovered Canva a little bit ago, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this is free. This is awesome.
Right? I'm like, and then I kind of went overboard and did too many graphics.
It's hard not to, though.
That's why you pay graphic designers. I guess that's what they actually have a job.
I could definitely see that because I did not go to school for that. And I'm just like, nope, I can try some basic stuff and make it look pretty, but that's it.
Exactly. Well, I want to get into getting to know both of you. So let's start with Albert. Albert, why don't you start with you and tell us a little bit about your story, anything you want to share with us, and then I'll go on to Jay. But just give us some background about who you are.
So I was born in San Francisco and raised in San Mateo, California, a small town outside of San Francisco. And I spent probably like up till I was about like 24 when I moved to Oklahoma. And it's funny because I do say like I found my queer identity here because like, you know, I was living with my mom and, you know, with our community, like that can be very toxic when like you come out or when like you're struggling because like I didn't even get the opportunity to come out. It's just like I fell out of the closet. My mom is my best friend and just so much like heartbreak and tears and like it was a very hard time, but moving away actually gave me the strength to like grow up, to be an adult, be independent, explore myself, explore my Latinidad, and like really have a voice for myself. And so like over the past, gosh, I think now it's been 10 years that I've been here. Oklahoma's really grown on me a lot because a lot of people are like, why would you move to Oklahoma? Like from California, but really I've met some amazing people and the culture here oftentimes can be challenging, but it needs people like us to move forward that movement and to bring that diversity and challenge people to be like, look, you're not inclusive. Let's be inclusive. Like I need to have a voice at the table. And so I got my bachelor's in substance abuse studies. Then I got my master's in substance abuse studies. And I work as a substance abuse counselor. I'm licensed as a substance abuse counselor with an emphasis in mental health. And gosh, what else? And then like I just love people. I love people. I'm an introvert as well.
Great way to do it. Yeah. I know, and I can tell you love people. The moment I met both of you, like, I mean, just phenomenal. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, Albert, with you, do you have family in Oklahoma, or did you just come by yourself?
My cousin was living here. She moved here from El Salvador to be with her husband, who moved from El Salvador to like I think Orlando. Then he just randomly ended up in Oklahoma. He's like, "Oh, y'all come just down here. It's cheaper," and it is. Yeah, very much cheaper. And then like I was the first like guinea pig for my actual like family to come down here. I stayed with them for a while, and then I lived by myself. And then my mom and sister joined 2 years ago now, and so here we are.
I love it. And then you brought up the fact about coming out. So in California, was that just something that just you couldn't do? Like you just wasn't your time to do that out there.
Yeah, I don't think I was in a place where I knew how to do it. I mean, I knew that I was sure of who I was, and I was sure that like at some point it was coming. But it's always this like tango with like, oh, do I take a few steps forward? Nope, I'm going back. I'm not ready. Oh, I'm ready today. Nope, I'm not going to say anything. And I just kept playing this game with myself of like, I want to speak up, but I don't. And it really just kind of was really, really scary. And I think that, yeah, it was more open and more liberal there, but at the same time, I did not have my proper foundation that I felt ready to actually take that step. So
I'm so glad that you brought that up because we do have a lot of viewers who maybe are in that same situation right now or have been in that situation, and just being open and vulnerable to be able to talk about that is so important, which I know you are very amazing on your Instagram and sharing so many personal stories. And that's why I love you so much, because that gives me like help and like just that guidance and knowing there's someone else out there, you know, you're not alone. And so you doing that, thank you.
Thank you
so much for being so amazing. So Jay, so tell us a little bit about you. I'm so excited.
So I also moved to Oklahoma. So I was born and raised in New York, and I moved to Oklahoma 4 years ago. It was actually 4 years ago, like 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was a bit of a culture shock, my mom moved here out of the blue in 2015, and like, I am a mama's girl, so I just really, really miss my mom. And yeah, I came to visit, and then I just kind of never left. I went back to get my dog and my stuff, and I just moved here. So that's definitely fun. I just graduated with a master's in general psychology, and I love doing research, especially like in the social psychology field. I am currently a case manager. I actually work with Albert. He's my boss, which is great.
I did not know.
Yes.
It's so much fun working with him. That's actually how I met him, which was so crazy. So I had just graduated with my bachelor's, and I was literally like 2 weeks ago, like 2 weeks before all of this, and then I like applied to this job, and I was like, well, hopefully I'll get it, but I don't think so, because I just graduated, 0 experience or whatever. And he hired me, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then this beautiful friendship started. So it was so great. And so, yeah, I went from my bachelor's to my master's. I recently started a second master's degree in public administration. It focuses in nonprofit and urban communities, which I'm super excited about, because my heart is really like, I just want to be there for people, especially people like minority groups. And I want to be able to make a difference instead of just kind of like not doing that, I guess. So I'm really excited for that. I'm also a new mom. So
congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I met my husband like 2.5 years ago. About 2.5 years ago here. He had 2 kids. So we have 2 boys, and I just gave birth 4 months ago to a little boy too.
My gosh, so many congratulations. I'm so like both of you. Okay, first of all, I didn't even know you guys were coworkers or thought best friends for life.
Yes.
And then definitely want to get into the story. But so first of all, Jay, so tell us, so how was that culturally, like, to come from New York? You guys both came from very amazing big cities. Oklahoma's not too far, like Kansas City's probably a lot smaller than Oklahoma, but just coming from New York to Oklahoma, I mean,
yeah, it was a lot. I mean, I honestly still feel like it's a lot. So I grew up right outside of the city in the suburbs, and it was, I don't know if it was because I was young, but I never felt like I had a bad experience. Now I look back and I'm like, oh, okay, well, now I see certain things that were going on. But yeah, so I moved here, and it was a lot, like there's a lot of diversity in New York, and I moved here and there's not much diversity, and it was kind of weird, especially because I was in school there. Like I had started college there, and there was just diversity all around me. And then I found myself here being sometimes maybe the only Hispanic girl in a class, and I was like, oh, this is so weird. But it's still just something I'm getting used to. And I'm really glad I moved to Oklahoma because, like I said, I met my husband. I was really just able to find myself and just find like my little group. Like I met Albert. I made some other great friends. And I'm just like, I can't imagine my life playing out any different.
That is so amazing. I'm just like, this is like the most phenomenal story ever. So tell me okay, so you guys work together. So how did this whole business thing come about then?
As far as work, the podcast or working together?
Podcast. Sorry. Yeah. The podcast is a business.
It's true. But we don't even think about it. We think about it just like our hangout time.
You gotta think of it as like business. That's just me. Yeah. Other people get into my brain because I'm just like, I just do it for fun, and they're like, no, you're doing a lot. Like you need to just keep thinking about it as a business. Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. It is a business. So I mean, like working together, we'd have a lot of time where we would just like decompress and like talk about like ideas. We'd reflect back and forth on each other, and we always just get into some really funny conversations and really like serious, like emotionally charged conversations, because we both also, it started with Yes Love. So I found an organization called Yes Love, which our mission is to promote love and equality to marginalized groups through art, community, education. And so when Jay found out about this, she's like, I want to join. And like, it was just a perfect mix. So we were already kind of doing that. And then, so we were used to having these conversations about like, why am I the only brown person in this space? Like, why do I feel like this? Why? And so our experiences just started to align. And the Little Mermaid situation came up when they were talking about casting African American girl to play the live action version. And so we were both just heated and we're like, this is ridiculous. Like, this should be a beautiful thing. Let's celebrate diversity. And I think we were just playing around. We should have a reality show. Oh no, we should have a podcast. And literally it just was that one like idea and we ran with it. Like,
yeah.
And then here we are 3 seasons later.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's just so funny and it cracks me up because like we always have said like we should be like have our own reality TV show because I feel like we go through like similar things and sometimes we take it so differently, but it's like just all comes together. And so I feel like you can even hear it in our first episode where we just kind of were like winging it, and then we slowly like started just really learning about it. And like Albert said, I feel like it's like our hangout time. Like we press record, but like sometimes our podcast like runs super long because it's so hard to just stop talking about it.
Well, and that's the whole thing. Okay, you got to just got a subscriber. So thank you, Tina, for subscribing to their podcast. So
Hi,
I'm
Tina.
telling you, that's what I think I love about your podcast is for me, I've had a hard time connecting with podcasts. I mean, and so I'll have to tell you, and you probably already heard this story, but when I got off of Queer Eye, my first one was in New York, and the first thing they said was we didn't even know that Latinos lived in the Midwest. Like it literally is flyover state. So after that, I started thinking about podcasts I listen to, and I'm like, literally, I think everybody I listen to is in the West Coast or East Coast. I don't think there really is anybody that I know of that's doing it in the Midwest, nor did I ever look,
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I started mine. But then when I got to know you, it's like you guys opened the doors to so many more people that you follow as well doing podcasts. So what do you think about the whole like podcast thing going on right now?
I definitely think they've gotten a lot more popular because of COVID and quarantine, but I also feel like they got a lot more popular because with everything going on in the political climate that we're in now, a lot of people were trying to be educated and a lot of people are on the run. Like, like they listen to it in the car, they can listen to it when they're working out. And so I think I've noticed so many more people listening to podcasts. So I think that is awesome. But
yeah, I agree. Cause like, honestly, like 2 years ago, I did not listen to podcasts. And then I don't know how I even found a podcast. Like I just was playing on my phone and I think I went on the app and I was like, oh, what's this? And then I don't know if I looked up like Latinx or something, but like this podcast came up and it was Latinos Who Lunch. And I was just like,
oh, yes,
they speak to me.
Yes.
Like they speak to me so much. Like, and I just fell in love. I was like, Jay, you need to check this out. Like, and so we started listening to that. And I think just like knowing that there was someone out there speaking about things that were true to us. And kind of like you were saying, like, I didn't really realize that there were other like Latinx people doing this. Maybe they're not that many doing it in the Midwest, like we said, but like they were doing it on the like West Coast, East Coast. And so I was like, well, maybe somebody would be willing to listen to our voices. I was like, let's just see what happens. Yeah. And so that really just inspired us to see that. And then, like you said, it's just like, then we see that they follow these podcasts and those podcasts follow these podcasts. And then like the community just gets bigger and bigger. And it's just phenomenal to see so much diversity and representation. And even with that, like, I think that's when I really solidified for me, like being Latinx does not look one certain way, because a lot of times, like, I think one of the struggles that Jay and I both grew up with were like, we're not Latinx enough, or we don't speak Spanish like people from our country, or like, I'm dark, but they don't accept me because I don't speak like them. And so like, then I was like, but I like listen to Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera. And so those things can be things that Latinx people do enjoy. It's not just about certain things or certain styles. And so that's when it kind of opened the door to be like, whoa, the Latinx umbrella is just so huge, and there's so many different like shades, orientations, genders, and like it's more diverse than people really believe and give credit to.
Well, and that's why I feel like it's so important to have the podcast, like just like you guys having that podcast, because you bring that out in forefront. Where, gosh, like you said, like maybe 2 years ago, I even with the issue that I had when I was doing Queer Eye, that whole thing of just closing that up and being like, I'm not good enough on one side or the other. It's just something you just kept internal, right? It was like you talk to your friends about it, maybe, or your family, and never spoke about it any other. Because, like, first of all, I didn't think anybody even cared. It's just something that you had to deal with. And then when I start hearing everybody else talking about it, it's like, damn, there are so many people out there dealing with this. And it's not just here in America, it's like all over the world that people are dealing with this. What inspires you guys for your topics? Like, how do you guys come up with your topics when you do your podcast? I know I'm asking those questions. You're probably just like, we just think of something, where'd it go?
Yeah, it's so hard because like I think focus is really like who we have as a guest. Really, that's like a really important thing. Just kind of getting guests that can provide a different perspective, not just for us, but for our listeners too. So it's just hard. Like we just talk to each other and we're like, so what are we gonna talk about this time? Albert's really great at making an agenda. Like he kills it every time. And so like, yeah, what do you think, Albs?
Yeah, it's kind of like Russian roulette sometimes. Like, so I have this this ongoing list of like topics, and like sometimes it's like, oh, this one, that one. And then sometimes, like yesterday, we had a topic in mind, and we recorded with one of our friends, and literally we sat there for like an hour before the podcast,
and a half almost,
and had a huge conversation that could have just been an episode. And then we're like, oh, are you ready to podcast now? And so it really just kind of naturally comes and goes, and it's just really exploring what's going on and how we feel about things. But a lot of times we do try to keep it within like situations in our community or like perspectives of people in our community, and try to give voices to those people of color from different communities of color.
Well, and I've noticed you're amazing guests. So tell me, like, okay, first of all, who has been the most inspiring, and who's kind of been like, and you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but who's kind of been like the rough one? Like you weren't really sure that was, maybe you didn't feel like it went the way it should have went.
Do you want to go first with yours and then Jay?
I know there was definitely a guest that the conversation, I cannot remember, but the person I can't remember who it was. I just remember the situation happening. And after the podcast, I remember we talked about it, and it was like, oh my gosh, like so as much as we can voice our political stuff, we try not to make it political, like on purpose. And so someone was trying to make it very political or something, like over little things that we were talking about that kind of had maybe something to do with it, but we were like, oh gosh, like that's rough, and so I think that was probably maybe the hardest one for me, at least.
I think just to add a little bit more to that, I think it was like, because so like, we want people to have their own opinion, but we never wanted to just be like, bam, 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 we're attacking. Sometimes things may not be factual. And so like, like we have an episode coming up about the election that my boyfriend's actually, because he's huge into politics, but like we've already talked, and it's like, we want to like do an educational approach, a conversation, not like an attack, and so I think that was kind of like the difficult part. But I will say that we had a guest who we sat down with that was a therapist that works with people who are polyamorous, are into like the kink and BDSM communities. And I think it wasn't that they were difficult, but I think the thing was that the topic was so, it was something that I didn't know how to talk about. And I think trying to like lightly ask questions and not be like, so tell us how you guys do it, or, like be so disrespectful about it. And I think she got it, and she was thankful, and she was very awesome about it. But I think it was just our level of comfortness with like how to ask the questions and not just like offend her. And she was like, no, I'm totally good. But it's just like when you're not 100% comfortable, you want to be like respectful as much as possible. So
I
that was
definitely agree
hard.
with that one.
Yeah, and the reason I ask is because I have that same issue. Mine is more on education though, because I didn't finish college. I'm on that other end of, kind of learning through experience and getting to where I am just through that, which is a lot of us too. But I get very nervous and hold back a lot when I do get on a podcast with people that are very educated. Like you all both are very amazing, but some people can be very like forward about it, not like conversational and like
Yes.
put me in the conversation with them and not so much like they're higher than you in this situation because they know all of this, which is amazing. That's what we want them to bring to the table. But then I think we also have to remember that there's many of Deannas out there that don't know and sometimes do need to, we do need to include them and make them feel comfortable in the situation. That's what I want to ask. Now, there are other podcast people out there doing things that there have been situations like that.
And I love that because, like, for me, those are the podcasts that lose me, the ones that just like talk at you instead of like talk with you. And and that's one thing that I think Jay and I really what we're trying to do is like it's a conversation. It's not like, all right, so I know all this, let me tell you guys how this goes. You don't know anything, because we're not trying to educate people. We're trying to like give our opinion and like talk about the situation. And if anyone wants to like shoot us a message about it, please like let us know. Or if you think we were wrong, like let's have a conversation because that's all it's really about,
Yeah, I think that's super important. Like I'm not good at having conversation. I like my vocabulary is not that great, and so like sometimes I'll be like, I don't know what you're saying. Like, so that is so important to me that like people can just listen, and not have trouble understanding because like. So Spanish is my first language, and I think that's why my vocabulary is kind of messed up. And so, like, I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. No, and I just love that realness that you guys bring all the time to the table, which makes me feel comfortable because I'm very much an introvert. So it's even hard to even get on here and like start a conversation. But I love that. And that's why I said when people ask, so what's the agenda? Like, do you guys have anything to talk about? I'm really like, kind of just these 3 points. I want to know your story. I want to know what you're doing. I kind of want to know what's going on afterwards because at the end of the day, it is supposed to be a conversation. I feel like those are just the best things because I just want to get to know you guys,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say like for as far as like inspiring guests, that's a hard one because we've had so many like awesome guests and like they are all killing it in so many ways. But I will honestly say like our first episode of this season, her name's Angelica. She's been in the news because she is a violinist who won a Grammy, and she was here on a visa from Colombia and it expired and she reapplied and they just denied it and said you have to go back to your country after living here for 12 years. And like her hope and her like piece of just like, you know what, like I love this country. And we were just floored because we're like, I would be like, screw this country because like you're not gonna treat me like that, and like when people say do it the right way, like this is what happens, and she's so humble and at peace. She's like, if I go, I go. This is what my journey was going to be. It wasn't meant to be easy for me. I meant to struggle to teach someone else and help them. And I was like, whoa, that's power right there.
Yeah, I agree. I think that probably has been one of the most inspiring ones for me, just because, like, with everything going on and the fact that she did things the right way, she did everything she was supposed to and more. And she still wasn't able to, stay and get her visa worked out. And she's hopeful about it. And she's like Albert said, she was just like, this is what it was meant to be. People will learn from this experience. I'm like, that's beautiful. Like I was mad for her. Yeah. And I was like, I need to be more like her. Like it was just beautiful.
Well, I think that's the importance of your podcast for sure. 110% is bringing those voices to the forefront, people that we would never hear otherwise. Right. Mm-hmm. And people need to be inspired by those stories. And hopefully if they have to deal with that or they know someone who can be inspired by this woman. I mean, that is phenomenal. Yeah. So tell me, so if there's future aspiring Latino, Latinx podcasters out there, what would your advice be to them?
Oh, Albert, you go first this time.
All right. I say go for it. I'm going to just be blunt. Like, you need to go for it because I think we oftentimes as people of color, we talk ourselves out because we're like, we're not good enough, we're not educated enough, we don't know enough. And we let fear really be the reason why we don't grow. And honestly, we tend to grow when we get outside of our comfort zone. And that's when you see growth. Because I could have sat on this idea with Jay for years, or we could have just go for it. And we went for it. And who would have thought that this would have happened? I never would have thought that we would have the reception that we've had from so many people if we never tried, because we could have sat there and just been like, nope, this is not a possibility. Why were we going to try? And honestly, it really just like inspired me to be like, I'm going to keep trying. And so like, I'm a huge believer in like, go for it, do what you want, follow your dreams, because there is someone out there that you're going to speak. You may not speak to everybody because not everybody might be receptive to what we say, but there are going to be like groups of people that this is going to be healing for their heart.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much sort of what I have to say too. Like, and really just make sure you feel like comfortable doing it. And even if you don't feel comfortable and stepping out of that comfort zone, I think there's so much growth there. And if you do feel alone, like you're doing it alone, I mean, you can reach out to us. You can reach out to really, people need to hear your voice. Like, I think that's the most important thing. Damn, Albert, you took the words out of my brain.
You guys work together.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like Albert said, pretty much just go for it. And really, one thing I've noticed is make sure you have at least one person who understands why you're doing it. I think that's what's made this whole experience so beautiful, is that like I can talk to Albert about it, I can talk to my husband about it, and just be like, this is what I have to do. And it feels so much better having that support,
And I love that you guys have each other, because I'm not doing this alone now, but when I first started, I was doing it alone, and then found a way to connect my community of people that supported it and then bring them on, in a way, like co-hosting and things like that. And that's been my support system, like, why we do it and why it keeps going. Because I don't know if I could do it alone. I don't know if I'm just too much introverted, I think. But you do have a question. And this has actually been something I've been asked as well. So, Zachary, thank you so much for being here. Have you ever considered bringing in guests that were not Latinx, but still someone of color, but not necessarily brown?
Yes. Hey, Zachary. Zachary's a follower and really awesome, actually. He's invited us to have tea at his house one day. So.
Oh, yes.
Okay, is he in Oklahoma?
Yes.
Thanks for being here, Zachary.
Yes, Zachary, you need to follow Midwest Chicana. This is awesome. Please follow her. So in regards to that, yes, we actually, I think originally we were doing a lot of like people of color, but we have a lot of friends that are white, that are allies, that are just like as like passionate about the community, and we've brought them on. Well, we've had pretty much diversity. We've had Shy Fan,
yeah,
Shy Fan, who's Asian, Chris White, Jacob's White, so we've had a variety, and we have a variety still coming on this season, which we've already booked the whole season through February. So that's been crazy trying to get all the guests like planned and scheduled. And so there's a lot of diversity, and yeah, we're not opposed. We obviously just want to have like people that are wanting to have conversations and really share their story, and I think like that's why it was very important. Like even in the beginning episodes, we brought on Jay Lee's husband, Brady, to talk about his experience, because he did grow up in an African-American family, and there's a lot of value in that too. And I think that I think a lot of times people forget that we need to lean on our allies to make sure that they are helping and carrying the message, because they can get in spaces that like Jay and I can't get into. So
I love though, Zach, that you, sorry, I just said Zach. I don't know if you go by that, but Zachary, that you did mention the Asian community and the negative experiences that they might have during this time.
Yeah.
I think that's very valid. I mean, we know the kind of people that like don't really think about others that might have that opinion or like a negative opinion and voice that. So I do think that's important. And like Albert said, it's really difficult because we are booked for like the next few months. But if we have a cancellation, I mean, Albert is really amazing at getting guests rescheduled. Like I know we've had that a few times now. So I'm sure we could do something about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so hard because like having guests get lined up was so nice as like an idea, but I know there's gonna be a lot of cancellations or like rescheduling and moving. Like we even had like these actors from like a Netflix show that were like, sorry, we can't like give you a time because we're booked, and we just kind of had to like let that go. I
Oh
was
my
like, so
Yeah.
look at you
It was
guys.
crazy.
yeah, I was like, sorry.
You guys are amazing. Like seriously, I'm so proud that you guys. Like I'm honored to have you both on here and telling the story, and just knowing that you are just normal people, just like we are, and doing phenomenal things, and just kind of just put it together. And I mean, I know there's a lot of work that goes with it, but really just finding that friendship and what you wanted to do and give back to your community is just so important. Is there anything that you would love to tell the Kansas City community? Do you know anybody in Kansas City?
We know you.
Yeah. No, actually, I would love to like meet more people in Kansas and connect because I know like just honestly like when we went to your festival, like you just did an amazing job and you had like so much representation from different countries. Like I mean, I went and had pupusas, and then I had like I don't even know what else I had, but I was like I knew that I found pupusas, and that was just like that spoke to my heart because like there's not like if we have anything here in Oklahoma that's like Latino or like fiestas americanas, it's like Mexico, Mexico, Mexico. But like literally, we stepped in and there was like different countries, and it was just phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Edgar Galicia, who I work with, he's part of Central Avenue Betterment Association in KCK. He actually does that, and so he makes a point. And a lot of those the people that were cooking have restaurants on that block.
That's cool.
So and it's really like it's very far and in between. But yeah, to not have that in Oklahoma, that is just crazy. And second of all, we get the same thing here too. You could be El Salvadorian and they think you're Mexican. So
yeah,
there's like no other country. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like sometimes it's like, okay, cool, there's representation in a way, but at the same time, like it's so hard for us to really find something that is really like about us because it like really isn't for us, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so what would you love to tell our community?
I would just like to tell them like I want to connect with everyone because I love hearing about people's experiences, like life experiences, and like I just love seeing new people. I'm an introvert though, so like that's hard. But yeah, I just want to talk to people, hear their experiences, whether they're Latinx or not, and just know that we're here for them. And that's pretty much it, I guess.
Yeah, I want to say that like you guys are so lucky you have Deanna there. Like, I mean, you are such an amazing resource. Like,
it's so true, though.
Yes, you put Kansas City on the map with your like. It's crazy because like so you know your experience, your story is what got you to this platform of Netflix, and that right there, honestly, like is so powerful and so important because your story is a story that resonates with like a lot of people. And I guarantee you there's a lot of people even within your own community that are like, whoa, she is me and I'm her, and so like you guys are super lucky to have her there. I would be like so happy to have a clone here. And like I just think that I would love to connect with the community also. Like Jay said, we talked about collaborating and doing that Yes Love event. And unfortunately, COVID just kind of took that away, and COVID's taken a lot away from us. And I promise once we get to a better place for like everybody, it's going to happen. We're going to come together. It is with our podcast or with Yes Love or with both, like I really think that, and I don't know, this is just brainstorming, but maybe like us and like other people in the community can like tour and do like a podcast, like a live podcast, like in different cities or communities. And like,
I was just thinking the exact same thing that you were just thinking when you were just talking right now. Was like brainstorming too. I'm that type of way as well. Yeah. Like, oh God, that would be, I don't think it's ever happened. Like, no. Why hasn't it?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I know. I might have to wait till February because I know you guys are like freaking amazing. But wait till February too. It might be snowing over here though. Yeah. For real. I mean, make an event out of it and do the live. I would absolutely be for that 110%.
Oh my gosh.
We were going to do the Yes Love event, and UMKC, Yvonne was going to actually give you guys a space, like a little cost to no cost, which I thought Yvonne, for doing that. And he actually did say
thank
he
you.
would, once COVID kind of did its thing, hopefully one day we can do that again. And I know he would be 110% open to doing it for you guys as well. So I'm just excited to connect and any that would become. And look, Tina's saying she would come to the live broadcast. We have one person. Yay!
Yes, Tina. Would love to
love
meet you.
it. Yes. Because I think there's just so many people that you need to meet here, and I'd love to meet people in Oklahoma as well.
Yes, let's do a little tour. I mean, why not? Like or like, I'm just going crazy, but like this could be like a little like tour, like documentary, like we get someone to film it. Like, I mean, these experiences, these connections, and like connecting with the people in those communities is so important. I would love to meet with people in the community that are like needing that like that boost, and like we can boost them up and like empower them to pursue what they want to do.
I am here for all of it. Let's make it happen. Kansas City.
Yeah, we have to. Once all of this stuff is over, I'm so here for it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Any last words before? I'm so sorry I kept you guys like over a little bit. I know you guys are busy. Thank you so much for staying and sticking around with me. But any last words?
I think, Deanna, really, like, I'm just so grateful that we were all able to connect, and I thank you for letting us come on and just chat it up. I think I could never really put into words like what like you mean to me. Like, we literally watched your episode at my bachelorette party and we're crying because I was just like, I finally feel like heard. Like, representation matters so hard, and so I just want to thank you for sharing your story and for really just making people like feel like they can relate to someone in a world that sometimes can be a little harsh. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback on that. And I'm just going to say, I think you came into our lives at such a pivotal moment in like, because we're constantly growing and evolving, but you really like your story, your adventure, like you really gave yourself like not even gave yourself, but you just being yourself got you a platform to show people like, hey, it's okay. I can be myself and I can really genuinely share with you my story and my struggles, because even like just episode, I remember even like going through your neighborhood and you were knocking on your neighbor's doors. Like, I was just like, man, like that touched my heart because like sometimes in our communities, we are still strangers to other people because of what we look like on the outside. And so I just think that like, I'm thankful for you and everything that you're doing. And like, I'm just rambling now because I'm just like, I'm like,
you are, and I want to tell you guys that you did not have to come to Kansas City. You did not have to come and connect with me, or we could have just been a general, hey, how you doing? This is great. Come on the podcast. But it's not been that way at all. I support you 110%. And I love, Albert, when you'll be like, hey, can you help me? Or I do the same thing with you because that's what we do, right? I mean, we need to do that. So Yep, and Tina, that's right. And thank you, Michael Fabian, for saying sounds great. And yes, it's so important to ask people that look like it. It does truly matter. And again, it doesn't have to just be from Kansas City, but like you guys are from Oklahoma, and we have people from the West Coast that are supporting us as well. And I just appreciate you, saying that about the Queer Eye thing because it was such a vulnerable time for me and my family, and it still is very vulnerable. But I think it's one of those things where it's like you either take it or you don't. I literally could have been like, I'm done here and we're good. Go on. Great. But I had more to give than that. And I'm hoping that this is literally what they gave me. They gave me all of this and I'm just sharing it out with everyone. So whenever you need anything or you need anything, just let me know. Because I'm here for you guys. You guys are doing phenomenal work. I appreciate you both so much.
We appreciate you so
much.
Well, you guys have an amazing, amazing evening. We are going to be doing a live broadcast here soon. So be on the lookout, please, everybody. I appreciate everyone that was here tonight. I gave some great comments and feedback. And I'm glad some of your viewers came in.
Yes, thank you so much, guys. We appreciate everything.
Thank you. And let me know. We'll get set up. Have a great night, guys. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.